developments there, right? All right, guys. Okay, from this demonstration that we saw from here, okay, Carmen actually have tried to develop basically her drawing strokes based on that. Okay, regarding to what we actually have been stated in our main objective from basically our project 2 there, right, okay, which is, if you take a look back again, okay, the way that we're going to represent it, basically our methods of working with our drawing itself are going to be the same there, right? Okay? I still need to see, to take a look and to evaluate basically how actually you control the pressures at the same time while you draw basically the subject matters over here. All right. So this is basically the thing that we kind of find quite very important directly in order for each one of you guys to develop your skill at the same time there, right? Okay. So because I saw basically a lot of most of you guys have been struggling a lot there, right? Okay. For not actually having the right kind of methods of working at the same time. Okay, that's basically the thing that I saw there, right? Okay? From your first evaluations and of course, okay, and and the recently kind of what we call the developments from each of those students there. So what I actually saw from here, we need basically more kind of exercises, but I'm using our exercise as a part of our project at the same time there, okay? So take a look at the bright side from there. That's why I actually write, generally I try to prepare most of the material for you guys to develop your kind of projects here right now, okay? But only for these two different kind of projects, okay, that we're going to go through. Okay, the next one are going to be surprised a little bit, right? And the challenging is you might going to seek for your own kind of research there, okay, for your final kind of works. Okay, but of course I want to remind you guys back again. I saw some of you guys still haven't submit some of the works from the previous kind of weeks there. So please basically, right, okay, submit your works accordingly to our needs there, okay, in each week. Because if you're not basically, right, uh, submit those works there, right, okay, it might going to be affected your marks there, right, okay. That's basically I can show you guys there, right, okay. It will basically affect your marks there. That's why please basically do some submissions on your works over here, all right, according to what we need basically there, right, okay, from the first week until our week 8 there, right, okay, for project 1. Okay, project 2 is ongoing kind of what we call that developments over here, which is whatever that skill that you develop from the previous kind of weeks there, okay, you can apply them back in these projects here there, right, okay, because it's all about to develop your skill there back again there, okay. It's all about to develop your skill and knowledge at the same time there, okay. And most people basically still cannot doing or draw in the right way, move your hands in the right way to draw them, okay. That's why I really emphasize focus on these methods that first, because there's no point basically, right, even though I give you guys some of the sample reference books, okay, some revision books basically to guide you guys, okay, it doesn't mean, right, okay, those kind of what we call that books will give you the easier kind of path there, okay, to develop basically your skills. You still need to produce, to develop basically a lot of basically what we call that exercise from there, right? You need to develop a lot of exercise from there. You cannot assume basically, okay, when you have actually, right, have that kind of reference, you've done a few number kind of exercise, that's it, okay. There still has to be ongoing kind of developments from here. Okay? That's why you need a lot of practice. Okay, we need a lot of practice there, right? Okay, If you don't apply and develop a lot of practice from there, it might going to be affected basically your kind of development skill, your cash kind of skills in the future, right? Okay, that's why we have to go through with it. So right now, Carmen basically try to draw them back, right? Okay, all those line works, okay, from those fur line on those wolf there, right? Okay, we want to see how actually you guys can actually develop from there. Okay, how actually you solve your problems to draw those kind of strokes at the same time there, right? I cannot open up my webcam here right now. I can try to open up directly. I don't know why actually it doesn't connect it there, right? Okay, I don't know whether my webcam basically broken, right? But you know what? Sometimes okay, these kind of models there, okay, there has a few kind of what we call that. I don't know there, right? Okay, it doesn't work properly here today. I don't have any sessions basically yesterday. I canceled some of my sessions there, right? Because of it's the need to basically right, okay, do some of the things there. So we have to postpone back again, okay, our my kind of consultations for final year projects basically, right, for Friday there, right? Right, try to control the pressures really well there, but don't trace those line or those shapes there, okay? Try to develop those kind of drawing stroke at the same time there, okay? Carmen? Okay, how many of you guys actually have seen my demonstrations on the on last 2 days there, right? Okay, please check back again. Okay, those YouTube kind of what we call that uploads there. Okay, basically I've been upload okay to you guys there before. Okay, let me check basically my kind of Google Drive over here. Sherman, basically, can you actually zoom out a little bit there, right? Okay, so I can see basically your kind of drawings here. So close your reference there first. To take a look back again, your drawing at the same time, okay? What are the things you have missed out, okay, that you can actually improve more further from there? And of course, the strokes basically has to be, it can be improved a bit more further. It's not that bad there, okay, to control the pressures like that using those pencils there, okay? And I think you can actually can impress a little bit, do more expressive kind of strokes from there, okay? Slowly that works on that, okay? Continue then, okay? Okay, please continue then, right? Let me actually check my Google Drive over here. Right, then the nose, okay, from those wolves, okay, please complete that first, okay, those kind of line works, especially from the left side, okay, of those strokes there, right? The nose at the bottom of it, okay. All right, guys. One of the most important things, okay, from this project to there, okay, you should basically saw your kind of improvement, okay, from the first projects. And even though basically from our first horses, kind of what we call the drawings that we did basically before that, right, okay, for week 6, if I'm not mistaken, there. And then we work in the week 7 and week 8, the okay, for the first project, the writing. We develop basically some basic structures. It's not all about, okay, whether we have to draw the basic structures all the time to develop our understanding there, but the way basically you're controlling the strokes, all right? The way that you're handling the tools there, okay? The way basically you basically develop those kind of confidence that when you draw the circle, line, structures at the same times. That's basically one of the most important thing that you have to recognize basically your understanding from there, right? If you still hesitate when you draw those kind of structures, when you still hesitate when you draw your kind of drawing line, right, okay, you're not confident, not sure enough where basically you're going to develop basically this kind of understanding from there, it will be a lot of difficult for you to develop your skill in the future directly in any kind of form of drawing or sketch kind of line methods there, right? So let me actually check back again, okay, because I saw uh, during the what we call that this first project there, okay, like I know that Jo Leong is not here anymore. All right, Jinbin, Josephine is not here there, okay. Zixuan basically, okay, she's just said get those kind of tablet, okay. But she actually have show basically her kind of developments, okay. Yeah, just now there, right? Jin Xian, okay, Xian Yan, Jun Min. Okay, is there any one of you guys who are in this group here who haven't submit your kind of assignments? Anyone there, right? Can you guys see my screen over here? I just want to double check back again. Any one of your name from here?
No.
No? You guys can see there, right? Anyone from this, what we call that names, will appear there right in these groups? Anyone there? No, there, right?
No.
Okay. So if there is no one actually, okay, good, there, right? All right. Week 6, Zhen Xiong. Zhen Xiong here, right? Oh, Zhen Xiong is basically a next class, right? Is it? Okay. Right. Every time basically, Raki, when you actually write, okay, draw there, okay, please take a look at your drawings while you actually write. Look at those reference there, okay, back again, okay, whether basically the line works is really right or not, okay, is is thick enough basically to saw basically all the line works really well, okay, very clear there, okay, all these kind of things really important, guys, okay. Always check look back again your kind of drawings line there, okay, while you draw them. let me download basically these sessions that we did today. And this is group 7, this not. Right, so far so good, right? Okay, your kind of line works here. So anyone want to share screen there, okay? To show basically some of your developments from here there, guys. Other than comment there, right? Anyone? Junvi there, okay? You want to share your screen there, right? Guys, can you open up your webcam for a while there, guys? Okay, don't forget, okay, to submit your works later on, okay, during this kind of what we call that progressions kind of work for, okay, for our sessions over here. Okay, whatever that you've been working on there, right, okay, on the line work at the same time here. Okay, open up your webcam for a while, okay, can I see your face there, okay? Of course, I can open up mine there, okay? Yeah. They say basically, I can't find your cameras over here there, right? I don't understand, okay? I'm going to check it back again later on, okay? Right, open up webcam for all the guys, so I can see your guys' face over here, okay? That your kind of attendance at the same times, right? I'm really disappointed with my cameras right now there. You guys can see that, right? It's called dismiss there, right? I don't want to restart my browsers over here. Open up your webcam for all that guys, okay? Amethyst, Su Cheng there, right? Okay? Shi Hao, Ming Xian, right? Okay? For a while there, right? Okay? And then we can close them back. Before we're going to find someone else there to share some screen over here. Anyone want to share some screen? Anyone there, right? Shi Hao, how is it, Shi Hao?
Yes, sir.
How is it, Shi Hao? You want to share some screen over there? Right, Shi Hao, you want to share screen there, Shi Hao? How actually you're going to do those works there? All right, everyone, okay, start to work with those kind of assignments, okay, your project too there, right, okay? So I can see the progression from there.
Sir, can
Yes?
I ask for your opinion on the line work of one of the things I drew?
Okay, which part there, right?
Yeah, I'll share screen. I was just wondering if
Okay.
the line work was okay.
Okay. Where is it?
Oh, sorry, can't see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Can't
you
see your
can't
screen
see.
there, right? Yes, I
Okay.
can't see. Okay, this one, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Ah,
yeah, I
okay.
can see it now. That right. The basic structures that you actually try to develop from networking is quite basically accurate there, right? But some of the areas like
Oh,
because if you can see basically my where is it there, right? Okay. Okay, when you actually apply the shadings there, okay, common there, right? You look into those right kind of what we call those shadings that form from those shadows, the textures that apply from there. Try to take a look back again, try to shade those shadows according to those kind of space that you actually can actually form from there because
yeah. Yeah.
when we want to develop basically our shadings okay on the shadows itself there okay you must be able to change frequently the size according to the space that you want to blend over or you want to paint over to those platform there okay for example okay if I may share to you guys over here all right so you guys can see my screen over here there right okay you guys can see my screen right
Yes.
Yep.
so okay good all right or in any way kind of form there okay let's just say that I'm going to find this reference back again okay when I actually write a gradient map basically I'm using okay to decrease basically those what we call that to make into the grayscale kind of tone. If you guys take a look carefully there okay, the shadows that form over here where basically the directions of light all right the light it can be confused sometimes okay but obviously you can see there's a multiple kind of directions of light okay from this what we call that there's a multiple kind of positions there right you can see there right the lights there
Yep.
obviously okay they fall off there right okay but the shadow have been fall off there right okay if you look carefully the shadows will be fall off to the side a little bit because this is basically some dynamic kind of what we call that form of the subject matters over here that's why if you take a look closely there okay it's hard for you to engage with one single directions of shadows here okay that's why when you actually try to what we call that to develop basically the some shadings there right you must have that kind of you must practice your eye to see where basically the volume of tone that we can actually separate from there but when you want to separate them make sure that right okay some of the areas you have to lock basically the shadows carefully so some of these areas right because I know basically the what we call that the light came from the side some of the areas we have to lock a little bit kind of those shadows there okay so this is something that people always the artists will saw all right but if you look at the patterns of it, you might going to be confused on how actually you're going to control the pressures and strokes at the same time there, right? Okay, normally it's a normal thing there, okay, because it's going to develop by practice there, okay? It's not only one drawing practice you're going to improve that. You have to do a lot of improvements. You have to take a lot of reference. You have to develop a lot of exercise in order to develop the kind of the one exercise. It cannot actually change a lot, but I provide you guys some of the methods that we actually can apply from here. Okay, if you take a look closely here right now, right, okay, if I'm going to use this kind of what we call that shadow as a part of my kind of way of presenting back again my kind of illustrations. First of all, of course, okay, flow. Remember, right, flow. We change the flow there, okay, into the minimum kind of percentage there, right? Why? Around 10, below than 10 sometimes, okay? I can control basically my pressures when I drop. And when I paint it, all right, I didn't paint like this. All right? Anyone paint like this? Only there? Don't paint like this, guys, huh? Okay? See the way I move my what we call that, my kind of, what we call that, cursor there, okay? Brushes when I draw there, right? Don't paint like this one. Okay? Take a look what you actually have been developed from here. Even though, basically, okay, maybe because of my kind of experience there, okay, when I paint like this, they become a little bit kind of like everything is put in the right kind of positions there. Okay, but when you try them back, okay, I change the size frequently there, okay, guys. Can you see it, okay? The size that I actually changed, okay, I didn't actually go to those any kind of, we call that, folders anymore there, okay, but I changed into my keyboard, okay. My left hand, I'm going to click these buttons over here, decrease and increase the size of those brushes there according to the space that I want to paint. All right, space bar that I use a lot basically to move around my drawings here. Space bar there, right, okay. Zoom in, zoom out there, okay. I'm using space bar there, okay, and also I'm using control key buttons and space bar to zoom in, and I hold those two keys together and click the alt buttons negative to decrease the size. Right? Okay, check a look at, guys, okay, even though I'm using basically a shadows there, okay, shapes there, okay, to develop this kind of illustrations there, I just want to show you guys different kind of methods of working on it. All right, you see that, right? Change the size frequently there, works on that. See here? Even though basically I'm using minimal kind of what we call the techniques here, right? Right now I'm using shadows there, okay? Shades there, okay, to work on that. I want you guys to to experience basically, right, okay, different kind of patterns that I actually developed from here based on the core shadows, but I did not basically, right, normally, okay, whenever they actually try to develop my kind of understanding, okay, to develop basically my illustrations, I never ever basically try to pretend that I want to draw all these kind of elements as perfect that I want there, right? I kind of like make those kind of improvements on my kind of movement of the flows and size at the same time to control the pressures when I draw them, right, okay, according to the shadows and strokes of those textures that I want to paint there right now, okay. So I want you guys to experience, okay, whether it's going to be work or not, okay. I just experiment them, guys, okay. I'm not saying that I make it purposely, okay, to show basically the results going to be fine as what you can draw there, right. So right now, basically what I do there, right, I try to use those kind of core shadows that I saw, or some of the patterns that I saw that actually can form basically these subject matters there, right? okay, which is the cougar there, right? Okay, right here. I want to show you guys basically not magic there, okay, but how basically we can actually coordinate our understanding while we draw them correctly using the right methods. They will basically affect our understanding and also formations of the subject matter at the same time there, right? Okay? Are you ready there, guys? Using the shadows only there, right? Close the pictures. You guys see, right, okay, the formations of those subject matters over here. But all these formation of the subject matters were not going to be affected in a right way if you don't control the strokes, the volume, the tone at the same times while you develop the understanding there, okay, to paint basically the shadow based on this subject matters over here. All right, you can see the tone, the value of tone that I actually try to emphasize. And you can see basically the textures that form basically the structures of these creatures there, right? Okay, there. Okay, so changing the size, all right, and controlling basically the strokes. Not press too much there, right? Okay, controlling the stroke there, okay, while you paint will give different kind of what we call that effects on your understanding while you try to add those kind of details there. Even though I want to draw this eye, the shapes of the eyes over here, okay, change the size a bit, and I draw based on the shadows shapes, right? Okay, slowly develop that kind of understanding there, right, to work on that. So when you close them back, you guys can see the shapes of these animals are going to be appear slowly there, okay, to work on that. And of course, whatever that Carmen just done just now, okay, is a part of the first process of working there. We can mix them around if you find a bit kind of comfortable to work on that. So what I can do from here, okay, and I start to draw them back using basically those kind of reference over here, all right? I draw them back there, right? The brush strokes there. Sorry there, okay, not this side there, right? When I want to draw them back here, of course, I have to adjust a little bit more there, okay, on the strokes because I didn't use basically our actual kind of what we call that. Our actual kind of what we call that size there. So when I want to draw them back there, okay, can you see like how I actually draw them back? Even though I draw a bit kind of fast a little bit here, but how actually I develop the kind of details there, right? From this reference. See, control them back, the structures there. This side, basically, you can use white color if you want to there, right? You didn't have to use what we call that, the black colors all the time there, okay, to draw those kind of what we call that. Same goes to this side. If you want to combine using the white colors, you can there, okay? But right now, okay, what I actually want to apply from here, I want you guys to develop basically your understanding how to control the pressures when you draw your kind of line there, okay? Can you see there, okay, how I actually draw them here? How I actually develop that kind of confidence at the same times, okay? When I draw them there, right? Okay, the drawing can be a little bit more faster there, right? Okay, as usual kind of way of working that you actually draw in the usual kind of speed there, right? But you can control the pressures at the same time here. So learn to develop that kind of control those kind of pressures at the same time there, right? Okay, while you draw them. Because when you actually can develop that kind of speed there, okay, and at the same time control the pressures, of strokes, right? They will give more beneficial for you. And of course, guys, okay, always remember, when I draw a bit kind of faster like this, what basically I try to do, okay, I try to combine those contour line drawings with those sketch line drawings at the same time here. Okay, I'm using the contour line drawings and the sketch line down at the same time, right? When I actually open up the shadows back again, can you see? The whole kind of drawing become a bit more kind of what we call that, more come together, right? They blend it all together back again. Okay, that's why control the pressures, learn to control the pressures while you draw them. It's really important, guys, okay, to work on that. Okay, I want to show you guys, if I'm going to mix them up, okay, with the white colors over here, okay, to draw basically those kind of what we call that, those mustache there, okay, on those this leopard there, okay, and this side basically, okay, I can use also white colors to blend it up there, okay, but of course white color cannot appear basically with a white space there, right? So what I can do from here, guys, okay, I'm using soft brushes, okay, there. Then I'm going to paint basically, okay, use the flows back again, right? Okay, that's the flows. Then I'm going to paint the shadows over here. Not the shadow, the background there, right? Okay. I'm going to paint the background like this one, right? Okay. So when I paint the background there, right? Okay, I can actually, right, make basically those kind of animals there, the creatures, the subject matters, it appear more better there, okay, from here. So how actually I'm going to create some, I want to show you guys how I actually create some blur effects from that. Okay, so take a file there first. Brush strokes, adjust the size, all right. And flows, I can remain the flows over here. I'm using white color there, guys. Okay, white colors to work on that. This is the background there, right? So I pop a little bit the circle around over here. I can use also this hard round pressure strokes of these brushes. Okay, you see some photographies, okay, that we can actually, right, add this kind of glowing effect there, right? Okay, the reference that you get right here, there, right? So we try to create those kind of glowing effects over here. See, adjust the sides a bit, not too much there, right? Okay, to work on those glowing. See, this is one of the tricks that we can use to make some glowing effects on our presentations, especially on the subject matters over here that I get to work on that. All right. Can you see, like, a combination between white colors and also what we call that shadings and strokes and line to all together to work with this kind of reference. And of course, okay, try, okay, if you have comfortable to develop that kind of understanding from here, you can mix up your kind of what we call that your drawings with the different kind of brushes over here. Why I actually using basically those, sorry there, guys, okay, different layers there just now. Why basically I'm using basically different kind of brushes over here. Okay, anyone can answer the questions why? There's any reason there? Okay, one of the reason I actually use different brushes, I want to emphasize more on the line and the strokes at the same time. And I'm going to add some of the mixture kind of methods and techniques, okay, to present it in one single drawing there. And of course, okay, the line work that we produce basically can mix up all together if you want to. Okay, to emphasize on those kind of details there. Okay, this is also one of the tactics that you guys can actually apply, not only from one drawings there, okay, or from one illustration there. You guys can mix them up around with any kind of drawing that you want in the future there. Okay, this part basically, okay, they have white colors there, right? So why don't you actually just mix them up there, right? Same goes to this part there, right? Okay, this part also can be there, right? Okay. So but I'm using some etching kind of styles that works on that. I can using actually, okay, I can actually apply also these shadings like these there, right? Okay, for what we call that this what we call that pencil kind of tools here. Okay, we still can actually mix them up there, guys. Don't worry there. Okay, you can mix them up there, right? But when you try to mix them up there, right, please make sure that you understand why actually you have to use these brushes there. Don't just simply try them, but you can experiment them at the same time there, okay? It works on that. But all these kind of experimentations that you try to apply, there's a king with the some of challenging, right? Okay, at the same times. So always understand about the challenging that you're going to face, okay, while you actually develop them by practicing them at the same time, okay? So from here, basically, okay, if I want to add some sort of shading for those, for example, basically the background or the foreground, okay, basically this part, right? What I can do, maybe I'm going to add some shadings over here first, right? To basically to show there basically a platform that actually this leopard, this big cat, basically have been used as a part of his what we call that ground there, right? See, so from you can use white colors later on, just to add a little bit kind of, but we can use it does a flow a little bit. Okay, you can add a bit kind of details over here, okay, if you want to. And you can use also those brushes there, right? To add that kind of details there later on. Okay. So check back again, this kind of detailing that you can actually apply from here. Don't just simply draw them, right, okay, without having some of the reference there first. This part basically, right, okay, textures of those stone there, right, okay, you can use different kind of size of what we call that size from the pencil brushes over here. See, control the pressures at the same time, right, okay, rolling those kind of shadings there, right? Slowly work on that, right? Okay, slowly work on those kind of details there. Okay, so what I can do from here using brushes there, right? Okay, let's just say that you actually have paint the background back again, because without those shadings of the backgrounds, all right, you won't be able to develop the right kind of postures and tone. Okay, back again for the side there, right? Okay, for example, you want to draw basically the grass line there, right? Okay, just now you saw the grass over here, right? You won't be able to apply them, right, if you don't have those kind of colors for the background there, right? Okay, that's one thing there. But you can actually add also different kind of grass line there, okay? You add a bit kind of like details. So that's why we call improvisations, right? Improvise, okay, on the shapes that we draw, right, okay, from there. Okay, so it's very fun, guys, okay, if you learn to develop slowly and efficiently the understanding how to work with it, okay? Because you have to practice if you want to develop the kind of understanding, you must be able to practice a lot. Don't just seek for what we call that some sort of like improvements without exploring basically, okay? Those kind of possibility that you can actually develop from here, okay? Those are the things, guys, okay? So there's a lot of things we can actually explore, but right now, basically, right, one of the things that actually been basically right, been show you guys right now is how I actually develop basically some multiple kind of methods and techniques, but to emphasize on the structures and the details on the subject matter at the same time, and we learn how to use the tablet and tools and improve your drawing skills, okay, for the rest of this kind of what we call that improvements for the main objective of our lessons over here, okay? Am I answering the questions there, right, Carmen?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, yeah, okay, guys. So, anyone want to share screen over here? Anyone? Anyone want to share screen there, guys? We got around half an hour there, right? Okay. All right, look carefully there, guys, how actually I develop the kind of understanding while I'm drawing it, right? Okay. And improve one step at a time there, okay? Always understand the purpose why actually you're going to develop the kind of stroke, okay? From what you see on my demonstrations there, okay? I did a lot of examples from there to work on that, okay? So use those kind of what we call at times chances, okay, to develop the kind of skills there. Anyone on share screen over here?
Should I share again?
Okay, can they recommend it, right?
Okay.
Is it raining at your place there, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it raining there?
Yes.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Quite cold a little bit, right? Have you guys take your lunch there?
Yes, already taken.
Yep.
I haven't taken your lunch yet. Or are you having your lunch during my demonstrations? All right, Carmen, okay? While basically you try to get all this kind of strokes there, okay, and drawing this line at the same time, can you actually demonstrate a little bit whether you really understand how to form basically the shadows, okay, paint the shadows, okay, according to this reference over here? So try to take a look, okay, which part basically you can actually cover the shadows there first. All right, from the reference here, we can see obviously there, okay, a lot of places we can develop the kind of core shadow at the same time there, right? So try to work on that. When you use different layers there, okay, the shadows layer should be below the drawing layers there, right? And you can see basically how actually the outcome is there, right? Okay, the best way to come in, okay, try to focus on the huge areas of the shadows there, and then you cover basically the tone, okay, to make it the core shadow a bit more kind of what we call that outstanding there, okay, when you have to cover the huge area, okay, from the faces, from the neck, the body itself there, right, okay, to work on that. What is that there, right? Okay, close those pictures there first to see, okay, whether you done in the right way or not there, right, okay. All right, some of the areas that you have to make a huge kind of shadows kind of size, okay, to cover some of the areas there first, okay. Slowly control the pressures at the same time there. All right, right now the flows that you don't change the flow that come in, okay. The flows is too huge, okay. It's hard for you to control like this one, okay. Try to change the 11, 10, 9 there, okay. You can actually easily to control them more there. Don't worry about the fur line, okay, when you want to add some shadings and shadows, okay? Focus on the tone itself at first, okay? Because the fur line, you can be improved more later on when you start to draw them back, those kind of strokes there, right? Okay, sometimes there, okay, one of the smart move that you actually can use, okay, you guys can actually apply there, okay, when you want to paint the fur line for the shadows, you follow basically the fur kind of strokes there, okay, but using basically the huge kind of elements of those fur kind of flows to develop the kind of shadings there, okay. For example, over here there, okay, and let me show you guys here right now. This is what? This is mine or no? Where basically mine? If, for example, like this one there, okay, can you see, okay, the shadows that can form from the side a little bit, the side there, okay? When I actually going to paint it, okay, normally, okay, what I do there, okay, and let me say I'm using this brush back again, adjust the flow, all right? Okay, when I paint it, right, okay, when I paint it, okay, I didn't, even though I paint like this, it's not the right, okay, but some of the areas when I paint it, okay, I'm going to add a little bit kind of tone, right? But size, they can change the size frequently, there are vigilance on that. This side basically, okay, the muscle connection that came from this side, okay, so I paint according to the structures there. So these kind of movements that you actually apply there, okay, it need basically a lot of flexible dynamic kind of changes when you draw them. See, I basically paint the shadows according to the stroke and the muscles connections that form from the shadows itself. See? Can you see that, guys? How it works? Same goes to what you do that just now, Commander. Okay, same goes to this side over here when I paint. There's the size a bit. You paint. Yeah. You guys can see basically the movement of the strokes. All right, it actually develops. That can appear also the strokes of those further right, at the same time. But even though you cannot see clearly from there, what you can do later on, you can adjust them back. See? You see the fur line over here? Guys? You can see the fur line over here? Yeah, those are the things there. But we can mix them up there, okay? But learn to control also the pressures at the same time when you draw them. That's basically the key point. That's why I change the flows there when I draw them, okay? Change the flow when I draw them. That's basically what I do all the time when I develop that kind of shadings and shadows at the same time that I get most on that. Okay, always changes there, okay? Those kind of dynamic kind of flows there from there. Check, look carefully, and move and control the pressures at the same time. Okay? So continue that comment, okay? Or anyone else want to share the screen? Anyone want to share screen there? Anyone want to share screen there? Okay, come and share the screen. Okay, good. Thank you. There. When you actually can control the flows and the shape and the flows and the pressures line and strokes there, okay, easy for you basically to gather all these kind of connections of the shadows within the muscles, okay, in more confidently there, okay, to work on that. Cover a little bit further on those huge areas, okay, from the value of tone that you can see from those wolf body there, okay. But don't press too much there, okay, on the shadows there. Can you close basically those pictures there, okay, for a while there, okay? Take a look some of the areas that you might going to be improve more on the line stroke at the same time there, right, okay, when you draw them. Because most of the time, okay, when you actually try to get all those kind of detailing on the fur line there, okay, you might going to be lose a little bit some of the areas that you might going to need to apply on your drawings at the same time there, okay. For examples over here, okay. Okay, when I draw this area there, okay, come in there, okay. Can you see there, okay, my screen sharing? Okay. All right, this part basically there, right? I did not basically draw stop to the side only there, okay, to make it as a part of the outline there, right? So what I'm going to do, right? Can you see that, okay, this part, if I actually erase them, I didn't actually just draw this side only there, okay, to complete my drawings there. By right, I draw the whole kind of form of the legs at the same time there, right? That's basically what you should do when you come to draw them. Right? So let's just say if I want to draw or develop basically this kind of drawings back again, okay, I will not stop to draw, okay, to this side only here, but instead I'm going to draw also this side there, okay, to complete the whole kind of task. My task when I want to draw my subject matters over here. Take a look over here there, right? Huh? And I even draw basically some of the strokes that can be applied there, okay, to form basically the structures of this subject matter at the same time there, okay. You see there, right? Actually, I try to manage basically my kind of drawings. If from here, right, if I want to make a little bit more details, okay, without using those pencil line, I can use those ink brushes there to work on that activity. Some of the areas over here that I want to develop a bit kind of details, I can actually apply them, right? All the shadows there first. Then I actually can add some of the details there when I draw. When I draw them, right, because I'm using the fur line to work on those kind of drawings. Same goes to this side there, right? The tail side there. I'm using the fur line to draw them there. You see? Even though this side here, when I draw them. So the movements, the flows that you try to apply, okay, when you draw them, there has to be also going to be affected the whole kind of physical of your subject matters there. In the drawing line and strokes, okay, we can actually draw these kind of strokes here. You guys can see basically some of the artists basically draw these kind of strokes like this one there, okay. Together it's a bit kind of what we call that some suggestions line of the structures of from the formation of the fur there, okay, at the same time here. See? So it can mix them up there, guys, okay. That's why I actually suggest to you guys, okay, just look at some of people's drawings, okay, not only mine there, okay, just to see how actually people develop the kind of stroke, okay, while actually they are drawing some of the elements, some of the subject matters, like not only animals there, okay, to see how actually people develop basically the kind of strokes there, okay. Basically will help you guys there to work on that, to develop a bit more and more understanding from here. Because if you don't actually take a look at some sample from other people's kind of drawings, you will be missed out with some of the multiple kind of methods and techniques that can be shown and can be improved more on your understanding in the future. Okay, even though this side there, okay, this part basically there, okay, I can actually draw a bit more details using basically a different kind of line drawings there, right? Okay, it can be there, guys, there. To mix them up all together there, right? Okay. So the point is right now there, right? You must be able to look and watch carefully and observe and learn to develop. Okay, I add a little bit kind of elements of textures on those kind of rocks over here using this kind of what we call that small multiple kind of circles there, okay? All these kind of drawing styles, okay, will give you a bit kind of advantage in the futures there, okay? Not only for these sessions, okay, to develop your kind of flexibility on your drawing skills. You see that, right? So the world without worrying there, okay? Right now, what you do there, okay, you always worry, okay, because you kind of want to aim for perfections all the time that we want to draw. Like I said there, okay, I never aim for any kind of perfection in my drawings there, but it will came naturally when we're exploring the strokes. Okay, the stroke that I actually draw right now came from the shadows, came from those structures, came from those the most obvious kind of element that we can saw from those reference. Okay. And from that kind of movement strokes that we try to apply, the realistic kind of look and feel from those reference, okay, from those drawings will appear basically naturally there, okay, without you forcing them too much there, okay. Right now, when you saw your drawings, okay, you can see basically you try to force enough basically to get as close as you want there, okay. But what I did basically for my drawings right here, and the same thing that I did for basically these drawings there, right, are the same there, guys. Okay, can you see that? Okay, comment. I didn't actually force too much basically to add all those kind of major details that, okay, that I saw from those fur line there, but I draw some suggestions line from there to develop a kind of understanding on those kind of fur from this reference itself, okay, but did not basically try to capture the whole things, become too realistic, but it will show basically those kind of a sense of realisms on your drawings, on your illustrations there, okay, from basically your kind of movements of the strokes there at the same time there, right? That I can repair and readjust them back there, okay, all the time that I get works on that to improve it more further and further on my kind of presentations. It's a progressions kind of movements that we develop from here there, guys. Okay, you guys can see basically while basically you look at your drawings, okay, you can basically try to analyze slowly, okay, not drastically, okay, how to improve more and more on your kind of understanding on your drawings there from time to time. It's a progression there, it's a progress. It's not basically some sort of like one shot kind of what we call the try and errors, and then you can close the books and you look for another assignments there, okay, which different kind of methods, okay. It's not, okay, it has to be continuing to draw there, okay, to develop a kind of understanding from time to time there, guys. That's basically you should basically set in your mind there, not a one shot kind of doing those kind of assignments and then you close the books there, right? It's basically a progressive kind of movement there. It's a progressive kind of what we call that lessons there. So you will learn from time to time to develop your skills, not one shot only there. Okay? That's why you need to what we call that practice a lot there, okay, from now on to develop that basically your kind of understanding and your skills, not only one shot kind of improvement and then you say, okay, there, let's say there, okay, I know how to draw it, then I can move there, okay, because you're going to use this skills from time to time, all right, in order to develop your understanding and how to solve your problems later on when you come to what we call that, develop your assignments there, to visualize your kind of ideas there, guys. We learn all these kind of techniques to visualize our ideas there, guys. Not just to draw something and show people that you can draw well there, not that thing there, guys, okay? Because we want to develop our skill to have a more wider kind of purpose there, right? You see that, right? So actually, I gather all this kind of information back again. We use the tools. You can try this kind of methods there, okay? Develop the moments of each illustrations over here. Okay, the moment of it there, right? Okay? Okay, from here there, right, guys, I'm still can basically, right, use the brushes that I choose. Okay. Can you see, right, how I actually draw the fur line over here? Suggestions of the fur line. Right, without using only what we call that, the drawing strokes only there, but the shadow shades there, right? Okay. Sorry there, right? What is this? These pen tools there, I didn't use this pen tools there, okay. Brush back again there. Okay, there, right? Sorry there. All right. How basically those kind of brushes there, okay, can affect it basically your kind of what we call that drawings at the same time, okay. Fur line there, see, control the flows. Okay, control the flows there. Works on that. Always there, guys. Okay, flexible. Okay, what we call that change. Okay, try to make some changes all the time. Okay, dynamically to work on your kind of skills here. Whatever that I show you guys right now, basically a part of it. You see that, right? And actually, right, increase a bit the size, the changes over here, and then maybe later on I can actually use the different kind of tone there to change them back. Mix them up there, right here. A lot of people are afraid, okay, to make those kind of changes there because they're afraid they make mistakes and cannot actually repair. Okay, we the one who actually made this kind of thing, guys. So we learn to develop a kind of controlling those kind of methods at the same time. Okay, so in illustrations, it doesn't have to be too realistic. Okay, we create some illusions of those visuals there. We create those illusion of those visuals there, guys. Okay, the more kind of what we call that aesthetic that we can actually apply from this illustration, a bit more better there, okay? Rather than we just focus on those what we call that some super kind of artificial kind of realistic there, okay? I always keep that in my mind, okay? I didn't actually focus on the perfections, but let it come naturally while actually I draw them there. Okay. Right, you can see basically this visual there basically, right here. You can see the aesthetical values that you can actually form from these illustrations there. Right, mix them up all together, right, to work with those brushes, but experiment them at the same time. It has to take basically slowly kind of progressions, but you have to do it frequently there, okay, to develop that kind of understanding. Okay, all right. Any questions? Any questions, guys?
No.
No? All right. So to complete those kind of assignments there, okay, those kind of project for these weeks, whether you can actually send over the progressions there first, and then next week we're going to complete the whole thing there, okay? So if people ask me there, okay, whether you have to draw the basic structures or not, ask you guys back again whether it's worth it for you guys to develop the kind of structures while basically you had a struggle to develop your drawing strokes over here. Okay, so ask you guys back again, because I've shown you guys all these methods to work there. Okay, but you have to choose which one you might going to be improved there first. Okay, improve that first. Okay, because a lot of people struggle to draw correctly. And when we actually ask you guys to draw based on the structures, they're making it worse there, okay? They make it into worse, but this is basically the guideline for you guys to work there, okay? So if you guys can apply them, good. But if you cannot apply them because you have the struggle to develop your drawing strokes, try to manage to improve first on your drawing strokes there. Until you get comfortable with it, then you learn back again, improve back again on your own to develop your kind of basic structures, break down into shapes at the same time. Because all this lesson there, guys, like I say, are not going to be complete, are not going to be finished in each week. Okay, you have to develop that kind of understanding that this is basically how to develop your understanding that if you don't understand, try to apply something that you understand came from our lessons. If you think that, right, okay, oh, I can learn from YouTube, it's more better, more easy, show us the results. Simple as that. If you can gather the same kind of results based on what you saw from the YouTube, from other people's basically, if you not trust on me there, okay, if you didn't actually follow exactly what I showed there, okay, try to prove them right. Okay, try to prove that I'm wrong there, okay. But right now, what I show basically, step by step to work on that, mix them up. You cannot basically just look at it and then close those sessions and then you start to develop other things there. You have to try them. You have to improve them. You have to follow and also use your kind of ability, right? Okay? Your kind of way of movements to gather those kind of coordination within your hands, right? Okay? To work on that and experiment at the same time. When your hands will not coordinate correctly, of course, you will find a lot of difficulty there. I show you guys how to move, how to control, how to start basically the movements there, okay? But if you don't apply them, if you don't actually control them, no one can be changed you there, right? Okay? Because I saw some people basically have developed the what we call that, the constructive line, okay, based on our lesson there. But the line works that you try to produce, basically, it out of those confidence there. There's no point from there, okay, that you are going to show this kind of constructive line if you don't get the right kind of strokes from here. Take a look, right, okay, what we did in week 7 there, right? Is anyone can improve those kind of line work like this? Ask yourself back again. If you can develop the kind of line work like this without hesitating, okay? See? The line work that I produced for you guys there. The contour line work there, okay? If you guys can manage to develop this kind of constructive line, go ahead. Okay? Make sure you develop that kind of understanding from this constructive line there when we draw them. Basically the same thing, but it's all depend on how you handling the tools. Okay? But if you cannot develop the kind of understanding from there, it's okay. Go through back again, directly draw from your reference like this and improve your drawing skill there first. Am I make myself clear to you guys there? The objective and directions of our purpose to present our works. If you can draw like this, more better than this one, I'm sure you can get almost full marks there, okay, for these projects there, okay. That's the challenge there, right? If you can draw more better than what I do right now, okay, for the few minutes there, right? That's basically the challenge there. I can show you can get more full marks, around almost full mark, around 29, around 90 plus there, okay, depending there, okay. I saw some of the students can do more better there, okay, than what I do right now. I can give basically 20 points, okay, from there, full marks, okay, for the whole kind of presentation there, right? But at the moment, I didn't saw yet, okay. I did not basically, because if we test basically in different kind of subject matters there, suddenly they become a little bit kind of hesitated there, okay. They hesitate those kind of drawings there. That's why you don't actually have that kind of comfortable confidence to develop that kind of skills yet. That's a normal thing there, guys. That's basically is a normal thing there, guys. Don't worry about that. That's why illustrations need time there to work. But if you can learn to develop the skill slowly but progressively there, right, it's more better than you apply the wrong methods of working. Okay? All right. Are you guys understood? Yes or no?
Yep.
All right, put the yes or no right on the chat box over here. All right, if you guys understand, okay, please put yes. If you know, put no there, right? Okay, so we can see how actually we can develop the kind of sessions later on there, right? Okay, so thank you very much, guys, okay, for having me today. Good luck and take care of yourself there, okay? I'll see you guys for the next sessions. Have a good weekend at the same times. All right, remember, again, we only have 5 drawings to complete there. Okay, last week basically we test 6 drawings, but we draw basically 12 drawings, right? Okay, for the whole submissions. That now you can actually submit only 5, but make sure you show me some progressions for this week's submissions. That's all. All right, if you don't complete those drawings, it's okay, like just like what I did right now, right? Okay, I didn't complete this drawing there, right? Okay, if you submit like this, it's okay. Then we can see this kind of progressions later on to work on that. Okay, all right, thank you guys. Have a good evening. Have a good kind of what we call that lunch. If you don't have any lunch yet, like I will take my lunch also at the same times. So take care, right? Okay, and also all the best to you guys. All right, so good luck and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
just pray